So today is less about a sermon and more about what happened this week. Because what happened this week in Atlanta under the Gold Dome was incredible. On Monday, I was given the opportunity to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee. This is the committee where last year a bill defining anti-Semitism died. It did not get out of committee and therefore wasn't voted on. It had previously passed the House. Some of the issues that were brought up were First Amendment challenges. And truthfully, I think some of the challenges that were brought up in previous years' committee hearing made this year's bill all the better. This year, after sharing my testimony, it passed, like mine and many others, it passed unanimously. It was an amazing experience to be in the room, and there was a lot of shouts of joy. There were also some protesters, as you can imagine. Then I found out it was going in front of the Senate Thursday with, again, very little notification. And I went up again because Senator Kennedy, who's our senator, our state senator, and also the Senate Pro Tem, invited me to sit in the gallery. And he very vocally, amazingly defined what the bill is about, why it's necessary, and gave an impassioned speech. And then there was a debate among many senators that went on for over an hour and a half. And I spoke to Chip Copeland, who many of you know who he is, who's a lobbyist up there, who told me that that is very abnormal for there to be that kind of a debate. A senator had tacked on an amendment, and that was also done to kind of slow down the process. The amendment was voted down. The bill passed as it was. It was a joyful moment, and the gallery erupted in this ecstatic cheer. Then I walked out and found out within about 10 minutes of exiting the gallery, and I went to Senator Kennedy's office. There was like miscommunication, but there's a picture that on Senator Kennedy's X account of all of these people, and you can't see me because I'm way up in the way back, so I wasn't in the shot. But all of these people very excited that it passed. And then it went before the House again because while it had previously passed the House last year, it was amended in the Senate. The issues that were brought up in the Senate Judiciary Committee caused the bill to be amended, and that amended bill had to then once again pass the House. It passed the House. And again, a lot of people erupted into cheer. It was, the energy in that building was incredible. There was a lot of hugs. And then I've been asked, well, what are the next steps? So let me tell you. According to Georgia law, the bill has to be signed by the governor in 6 days of passing the legislature. So that means that some point next week, the governor will be signing this into law, which is very exciting. Rabbi Peter Berg, I know, met yesterday with the governor, so there should be smooth sailing for those of you who don't know who he is. He's the rabbi of the temple in Atlanta. He's the senior rabbi, of the temple in Atlanta. This bill could not have happened without the work of so many different groups of people coming together. So as you all know, I was a big advocate of it, but really John Carson, Representative Esther Panich, people who had from the ADL, from the AJC, from the JCRC, from the Jewish Federation, many rabbis in Atlanta, Hillel, all worked together. And when I say collectively the Jewish community worked together, what I mean specifically is there were Orthodox, Reform, Conservative, people whose opinions vary on a variety of topics, even among Republicans and Democrats, who were all rowing in the boat the same way at the same time. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. I've never in my life seen so many Jewish organizations in a list, and I'm proud to say we were one of those organizations, so thank you, Simon. And the board of this congregation voted to be part of a sponsoring organization. It just doesn't happen. And it was so profound. And when I went into Senator Kennedy's office, he, again, was so beyond gracious. He allowed me to leave my bags in there and kind of use his office as a place for me to go to and back and forth during all the different things that were happening. On Thursday, I saw a picture of Rose. What is her last name? I just blanked on it. The woman who was murdered in Jerusalem. She's a distant cousin.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Sorry.
Rose, I think Lublin, the young woman from Atlanta who was murdered in Jerusalem. Lisa, do you remember? Her father, David, testified at the judicial hearing. He had a picture of her on the desk. I have never met or seen, he was so genuine about this bill. It spoke to him, Senator Kennedy, so very much. And it was such an honor to see him work. And when he got up at the end of everybody sharing their debate, I will say that he shared a quote from Hillel. He came up with it on his own. And I spoke with his staff afterwards, and he was like in this zone of just doing his thing, and he was amazing at it. So the biggest lesson that I walked away from on Thursday was a reminder that what was the world like right before the Tower of Babel, the very beginning of that story. You all remember? Everybody was in concert, working together. Of course, they went off the rails and built a tower all the way up to God, and God had to, then chaos, ensued. But initially, everyone was together. And it reminded me again of another time when we were all together. In this week, we read about the Israelites going through the Sea of Reeds and how there had been no complaining really as of yet. There was some fear, some trepidation, but guess what? Still together. And the entire Israelite community got through the dangerous journey through the Sea of Reeds. And it really got me thinking of how amazing of a world it would be if we were actually able to put aside our differences for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and get along and work in tandem with one another, highlighting the strengths that each other has. No one person could have carried this bill. No one person did all of the work to make this happen. It happened because every single person put their egos aside. And I'm sure you know what politicians are like with their egos. And I'm sure you know what rabbis can be like with their egos.
Not rabbis.
But there wasn't an ego show. It wasn't that kind of an event. And people worked together. How much sweeter of a place could we have if we were able to put our differences aside and come together and work to actually improve the circumstances of not just us, but those around us? Shabbat Shalom.